What do you call a man with no arms or no legs and a hole? Phil. You're welcome. All right, so first off, it's Canada Day, so happy Canada Day if you're in Canada. Independence Day is coming up, the 4th of July, so happy Independence Day to the Americans and any of the other days out there. Have a good week either way. So we're moving into our new place in about 4 weeks, so we're currently staying at our campsite still. So since we're waiting to move into a new place, I'm going to tell you why, at least one of the reasons why we decided to buy instead of build right now. Now we still plan on building a garage, building a woodshed. I'm still going to build another cabin for hunting, another place to go, kind of a prepper spot, things like that too. But having said that, why we bought our home, the prices are crazy. So I made some notes. So right off the hop, the housing market, you know, they say it's somewhere around 30%. You can add 30% to a house. But if you look at the lumber prices, it's like 200 to 300% compared to what it was as far as lumber goes. So even though the housing market is higher, in our area in particular, it's higher, but it's not like in another stratosphere like it is in some other areas. So it can only really go so high here in this area because there's just not enough work or anything, right? But the lumber prices, they're crazy. So I thought the price of lumber was about to go down. I think it is supposed to go down, but I heard it had gone down 10%, and I was just checking the prices again today, and it's not true. This area, if anything, they've gone up another 10%. So the price of a 4x8 7/16 sheet of OSB right now is $64.98. One sheet. So I did a video maybe a month ago given the price of the garage build and how much it cost us, and we built that with 2x4 10-footers, full 10-foot 2x4s, not studs. And the price last month I think was $15.98 for a 10-foot. Now I think the price is $15.55, so that's gone down just like 45 cents or whatever, right? But the plywood, when I priced that last month for a 7/16 was $58, and now it's gone up to $64. So where the other one, you know, basically stayed the same, the plywoods or the OSB's gone up again, and the plywood, the half-inch sheet of plywood is now $62, where I think it was $55 last month. So it's still going higher right now. So I'll give you a price currently today, 1st of July 2021, what the prices are. Then I'm going to give a reason, like give you a little justification of if we were going to build one now. So we built the house out of 2x6 8-footers. So right now, 2x6 8-footer is $15.55. Our floor is all 2x8, 12-foot 2x8s, 24x40 floor. So it's $33.98 for one 2x8 12-footer right now. 5/8 OSB tongue and groove, that's what we put on top of that, is $76.55 right now. One sheet, a 5/8 tongue and groove OSB on top of the 2x8s. That's exactly what we did for our floor. So that's gonna really add up. And if you go with 3/4, because some people go with 3/4, that's $88.77 right now, tongue and groove 3/4 OSB. And then 5/8 plywood right now is $88.98. That's not tongue and groove, so a tongue and groove is probably a bit more. And then 3/4 is probably almost $100. So just doing the floor alone is going to cost you a fortune. And then, you know, like I said, $15.55 for the 2x6 studs once you get to the walls. And then you put in the 7/16 or the 3/8 plywood. So you're looking at $64 a sheet of the OSB or $62 on the plywood. So it's going to add up pretty fast. And that's much more than we spent when we started in 2018. So we did a video March 2020, and up to that point, that was including the, you know, the land, the existing septic. It was 70 acres of land. It had been cleared in 93 or something, then thinned again in 2011, I think, so 10 years before, well, probably 7 years before we bought it, 10 years now. And then with the foundation, that's a screw pile foundation we use, and then, you know, the wood, the walls, trusses, everything to the point of the video. You can watch that video up here, everything to that point, it was $80,000. So that was with the extension on and everything. It wasn't sided yet, the interior wasn't finished. It was insulated and livable and all that, just it wasn't done yet. So since that video, just over a year later now, this is July, we moved out of there in June, so we probably stopped working on it sometime in May or the end of April when we had finished getting the kitchen in. So to that point it was $80,000. Now, just over the year later, like I said, it cost us, this is kind of a rough number on it, but it's around $55,000 more we put in. That includes the garage to the point that it's at now, which I just did a video on that like 4 weeks ago. You can check that up here also, where I give a breakdown of what the garage cost. And the garage cost for, say, a sheet of plywood then, when we did it in the fall of 2020, that the prices were crazy then. I think sheet OSB then, 7/16 was $45. It's almost $20 more now, about 8 months later, than it was then. And so we did use 3/8 plywood, and it was, I think, $42 a sheet, which is also very expensive, but it's up 20 bucks. These are all Canadian dollars too. So that was expensive then. Just that alone would raise the price of the garage. 8 months later would cost me, I know, put another $20 on all the sheets, so it's like another 30%, 35% on just that alone, just from then, let alone from what it would be in 2018 or 19 to build it. Well, that's including the garage of $55,000, so it's probably close to $40,000. The garage is done $16,500 or something like that. To the point it's at now, there's still more that got to be done. It's not sided yet, it's not wired, nothing like that yet. So just with the door and everything you can see. So it's about $40,000 we put into the house, and that includes, we did the interior, and the house, the rooms still need to be finished. We're no longer living there, so that's the new owners that'll be doing that. But we had put flooring down, the walls in the great room and the kitchen, that's pine and hemlock, and then we switched the hemlock out for drywall in the main area. Pine ceiling, and then that includes the kitchen, which was $7,000 or $8,000, new kitchen. The counters, that includes the fridge stove we put in there and the washer and dryer. So there's a few appliances you could knock off a few grand as far as, because those are appliances. But still, that's all part of, that was all included in what we did. So the total of our place to build it to the point that it was at when we left, that last tour, if you wanted to watch that, the last tour we did, again, you can check that up here. To that point, rough cost for what it cost us to get it to that point was about $135,000. So that doesn't include any labor costs because we did it ourselves. It doesn't include gas, nothing like that. Any of those other expenses, which would really add up significantly. That's just the materials alone, right? We did pay to get it wired and get a panel put on and run the power. So that's about $12,000, somewhere around there, maybe, if you add that all up. But those are all things that go into building a house. Those are, you got to do all of them. And then there's a well, septic, all those things that get included in building a house. So all that gets added in. So anyways, not including labor, not including gas, time, all those things, about 135. So if you take that number, if you take the 135,000, you could easily double that, I would say. Maybe between 200 to 300% more. I would say you'd be safe to double it for sure. So that would put it at 270 for the materials to do the exact same thing that we just did, which was 24 by 40, one level, steel screw piles. Some things, the price hasn't changed too much. The metal's not too bad. Hasn't gone too crazy yet, but the price of wood would make, that's why I would say it'd probably double it, even though the wood's probably 3 times some of, I mean, the plywood is more than 3 times more than it was. So when we started, I remember buying a sheet of plywood. It was just under 20 bucks, and that was for a 1/2-inch sheet of plywood. And it was just thrown on some pallets just to give us a place to get out of the, when we came out of the trailer so we weren't walking in the mud. That was just over 20 bucks at the time for the 1/2-inch plywood then, and the 1/2-inch sheet of plywood now is like $80. So that's 4 times as much on them. So I'd say if you add all that up, easily double it. So like I said about the real estate, even though that's higher, it's not as high as that's gonna make it. So that's why we were still able to buy a house, and it made way more sense financially than to rebuild a whole house now. Now, building a cabin or a garage, stuff like that, it doesn't take the same amount of materials as a house, obviously. So we'll still be going forward with all those builds. So it's still lots to build, and hopefully the prices go down so it doesn't cost us a fortune to build them. So anyways, just wanted to give you a rough idea of, like, we were looking to buy property. We were kind of having trouble finding the right property we wanted. So we were also looking at homes also. Obviously, we went the home route, and adding up the math, it just made a ton of sense to buy it, because the home we're buying now to build would cost us a complete fortune, because it's much bigger than the one we just built. But again, even just rebuilding the same idea, the one level stuff, would cost us what it would cost to buy, you know, an already built home bigger. So there you have it. That's the kind of the big reason why we decided to buy right now. And there's a lot of other reasons. I mean, not building another whole house, being able to just move in after we just built our last house and everything. And we found this one. The one we found is perfect too. Like, we found it, got a awesome place, that farmhouse, for an awesome price, especially, like, you know, considering this market. Very happy with it. And to be able to build that in this market right now, it wouldn't even be possible. So that's perfect. But anyways, that's the reasoning behind that. Hopefully those wood prices go down for all of us. And I know it's the same thing down, you know, everybody in the States, Canada, we're all dealing with. It's probably worldwide for all, probably. I know here in North America, it's definitely that way. And hopefully it all goes down for us all, because a lot of us have projects on the go and we could use the lumber prices down a bit. So anyways, thanks for being here. Like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. Appreciate it. We're getting close to 100,000 now, so if you're new here, be sure to subscribe and let's get over that number. We appreciate everybody being here.